Hey everybody, it's Chris here and we're doing some post-commentary on Kerbal Space Program. Today, I had set my sights on trying to create a Duna habitat so that I could actually send to the planet for my guys. Before I had recorded this video, I had sent a group of guys to Duna, and I intended to have them as the first Kerbal colonists of the planet. I'd sent one test before, but I believe that was a drone, and that was just to prove that I could actually get to it with the materials that I had. So this is more the follow-up of the proof of the last one was the proof of concept, but this one is the actual endeavor. I've also been trying to get the keythane mod to become installed on my computer so that I could set up and get some renewable fuel sources going on there. On my last computer, I had the keythane mod installed, but I also want to have that here too. Put nuclear engines on this thing because they're super fuel efficient, and I think they might have worked if as long as they're connected to the engine. So here's the finished product, and it looks pretty good. We got the boosters to get us into orbit. I mean, off the ground at least. So up we go. And I remember this being very loud when I actually played the game. And we actually did pretty good. These engines gave us good lift. No, not docking. We gave it pretty good lift. As we can see here, they're just going to fall away right now, and we're going to be coasting on our skipper engines. I don't have enough science just yet to have the Rockomax mainsails, but the skippers do good enough job, especially if you multiply their power usage if you supplement it with the solid rocket boosters, and that was pretty good. Now, I think that we were ready to disengage our engines soon because we're running out of fuel right now. But I made a little bit of an oopsie with this one, and I'll tell you that when the actual fuel runs out. And I made sure that there were some parachutes as well to sort of get us down to Duna's ground safely, because I made that mistake before in the past. And it looks like our engines are just about to run out of fuel. We can disengage and fire the engines, and there we go. This is when I realized my mistake. Turns out that the rockets actually need to be touching the fuel tanks. We jettisoned them because why not? We're pretty much dead in the water anyway, and I should have tested those parachutes, but we'll spin in space for a little while. Whee! We're stranded. And we cut back here. We also had a small problem, but we fixed it. Turns out the way that we position our engines now on this new module, on disengagement, one of them exploded, threw us into a spin, but we were able to ditch both of them, disengage their fuel tanks, and we kind of we righted ourselves. So that was unexpected, but we worked with it, and I think we were able to get to orbit. I wanted to bring my actual apoapsis up to around 500,000. That way that we could actually do some pretty good time acceleration, so that we could get into position for transfer. And as we're trying to see here, as I fast forward through this to spare you guys the pain, I managed to get close to an encounter with Duna, but for some reason I couldn't do it. I didn't understand what I was doing with the problem. I tried adjusting my inclination, my oblongness of my orbit, messing with the actual speed and velocity. So I just figured that, well, it just might be best to get us in as close to an orbit as we actually can, and we'll fix it on the way. And see, we're accelerating right there, and of course nuclear engines take quite a little while to get us up to speed, but they're super efficient. I think that these two rockets were enough to actually get us to Duna. Yeah, I think that they were. And that was pretty amazing, considering that the output of the rockets alone were pretty small compared to the 4. I mean, we could have gotten there in twice the time if we had the other rockets perfectly working. So we were able to bring our orbit up close enough. Now, we had actually missed, I think we missed our actual our original orbit. So our maneuvering node. We missed our original burn point, so we got it as close as possible. We missed it by a few minutes, but that was enough to throw us entirely off the mark. So we had to get it there properly. And yes, yeah, you see that little screen shake there? As we managed to get an encounter with Duna, and much closer than I originally thought. So we have to transition over, and that's about what 50 days time. There we go. See, I had put solar panels on my rocket this time, so that we actually had power. What happened before is, and I forgot to mention it because it was talking over it. My rocket ran out of power. It didn't have electricity. Did I actually leave that footage in there, or did I cut it out accidentally? Oh well, but I managed to put solar panels on it this time so that we wouldn't die in space. So we would actually be able to make it to our course correction. And see, I want to get a little bit closer there so that I didn't know exactly how much burn time I would need. This is not available, but I got close enough to it, and I flared it for just a second just to get the counter up there. And I wonder when I do that. It's sometime around here. I think it was around maybe 4 minutes that I actually do the burn, so I fast forward a little bit. And 4 minutes, yeah, there we go. Turns out I only need about 47 seconds of thrust. So that's not too bad. So I said, okay, I'll get a little bit closer and get a better effect. And of course, I overshoot it again by about another 3 minutes. So I figured, well, let's try to get close again as we could. But something happens. Something happens. We actually get an encounter with Duna 3 minutes after we missed our initial navigation node. And I was practically ecstatic. And the best part was, it was about 20 million kilometers closer than I thought. And we do a mid-flight refueling, because we can still transfer our fuel over even though our engines were gone. That's a great thing about the engines actually being close to one another. So we do a small little top-off, just make sure that the fuel is even in the tank so that we don't spin off course. And yeah, this is where we actually get our encounter. On the second try, I mean, let's be frank here, it wasn't exactly a clean mission, but the fact that it only took 2 tries to get up here, and things went horribly wrong on the liftoff stage, I'm actually pretty impressed that things were able to go as well as they did. Of course, I burn as soon as I get to periaps, and it's not the most efficient thing to do. The more efficient thing would be to aerobrake in Duna's atmosphere, but at this point I wasn't concerned about, a return trip, because this is a domicile. This is here for my Kerbonauts. I'm not trying to get it back home to Kerbin. I just want to make sure that I have a nice cozy home for my Kerbals that are probably going to be remaining here permanently. You can see I'm throttling down. And we have an encounter with Ike, which is to be perfectly expected because of Ike's proximity to the planet, and of course the sphere of influence is just outside of Duna's home. And I wanted to line it up with those other guys down there. I don't remember who was down there, but I remember the upper one has 3 Kerbals there. That was the first one I managed to have a Rockomax capsule get there, but I think the other one was just a small 1 guy thing. So he wasn't worth as much as the other 3 guys. And I get a little bit closer. One thing that I kind of messed up here is I forgot to retract the solar panels, so they're gonna get torn off before we even touch the ground, and that was a little bit stupid of me. I should have done that. I should have put them away. It was a bit of a rookie mistake. But in hindsight, I'm realizing that it's not really that important, since, like I said, again, we're not concerned about actually getting up off the ground again. Once this thing touches down, I expect it to be there for all eternity until my Kerbals blow it up. And here we go. We have our actual shoots out. And this is actually a pretty close landing. I was actually surprised, at the same time disappointed I couldn't get a little bit closer. It looks like our engines are a little bit off in terms of fuel amount. If I can just slow it down enough to get it as close as we can to the other ship, and it's around here. I think that my parachutes actually start to open. It would be nice if you did. And there we go. We got full sails. We're actually going to be going down. We're going to jettison our other tanks because we don't need them anymore. There they go. Bye-bye. And just to cement the fact that this thing is here to stay. And I got to turn off my SAS so that we right ourselves. But there we got a little explosion. And I think that there was a secondary explosion. I don't know how that was supposed to happen around here. Yeah, I think that was it right there. I can't really tell. I can't hear the sounds in the actual recording, so I have to guess. But there we go! We're down on Duna. Our first condo complex. Now we're gonna have to get our Kerbals over here, and I can't actually use the packs here because see we have no solar panels. We can't use the packs, so they've got to run it the rest of the way. They've got to hoof it over that red sand. And 3 kilometers for a run is actually pretty long way. See, there's Joester. What happened here? This sort of monstrous black magic has taken over this Kerbal. Forget it. Let's go get the 3rd guy. And lastly, our 3rd man is on his way there. And I'm going to cut ahead because, well, you know how the story ends. Everyone's here safe and sound. These 3 Kerbalnauts now have a place to finally call home on Duna. And everyone is so happy. I'm just going to arrange everyone so that they're here for a nice group photograph. I'm going to disable the UI here so that's nice and clean for that. And smile, boys. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? We got bed and breakfast for these guys here. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching and hope you like and subscribe to these videos. This is Actual, signing out from Duna.